Are you able to materialize objects or just events for the moment?
Yeah, everyone does. If you look at your life, you will realize that how you think determines what happens to you as the events of your life. Right? How you feel is based upon how you think. You do materialize events. Now, often people say, well, if you can materialize an apple, I want it to appear in your hand right now. Right? And a person can do that if they're able to understand, if they have their consciousness in and are able to understand how to take non-physical energy and carry it into physical matter and create the apple. Right? People can do that, but most people do not live in two dimensions at the same time, and they do not live with that level of understanding. But if you want an apple in your hand, everybody can materialize it. You go to a grocery store that has an apple, right? Or you go to the farm that grows the apple. So we can have all the experiences that we want, right? And we do it every moment in our lives all the time. How we think determines our words and our actions, and it brings to us the experiences that we want. The problem I see is there's a lot of fantasy in spirituality, and people get hypnotized by the fantasy. And they become so attracted to the fantasy and to magic and to superheroes, right? And they don't realize how life actually works. Right? If we look at the modern day film industry, the most popular films right now are superhero films, right? And this shows that mankind really is focused on things that just aren't here, things that are beyond us, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. It's very entertaining. It's very happy. But oftentimes people are thinking about fantasy because they're struggling in their own lives. And they want a superhero to save the day. They want someone to prove to them something magical so that they can then temporarily feel happy. Right? But the reality is, if you want an apple, create it within your means. Tell the universe you want an apple. Tell the universe, inspire me how to make that apple appear in my life. And you'll find yourself motivated to have conversations with people, to take your body and travel to places. You'll maybe be motivated to learn about apples on the computer. Right? You'll be motivated to actually live your physical life to create the physical experience. A lot of times when people want this manifestation stuff to happen, it's really based upon a person who's disempowered and afraid in their own life to create in their own experience. And so they want something magical to do it as a way to escape from actually trying to live their own life and create in a very ordinary way. We're here to be human in this reality and to create through the body. And if a person starts engaging in that process, they'll start losing all of these thoughts that are thinking about magic and superheroes and all of these special things. Right? I've had things in my own life manifest very, very quickly just by my mind requesting them from the universe. And my life has been like that for over 20 years. Right? Does it manifest in the palm of my hand? No. But it manifests in my life. And I know that I'm creating here. Do I know how certain things happen in my life? No, but I know that they show up. I know that they appear. And so I have had those experiences, but am I going to be a magician? And am I going to, try to make something appear in the palm of my hand? I have no interest in that. I really don't. It's possible. It takes a lot of advancement. I've never trained myself in that. I've never had an interest in learning how to do that. I've actually seen someone do that. I was once at an event. It was in Sedona, where I live, and there were Tibetan Buddhist monks who showed up, and they were talking about astrology of all things. And there was a very old monk, and he looked to be maybe 80 years old, and he was sitting there. And I don't know if anybody else saw this, but I saw it, because it could have been a non-physical thing. But there's a man on the left of the stage and a younger man, and he's probably middle to late 20s, maybe early 30s, and he's talking to us in English, and he's Tibetan. And he's telling us about astrology and things like that. And then there were three or four other men in the back, and one was very old. And they were on the right side of the stage. Out from the right side of the stage, from where this elder was sitting, a monarch butterfly appeared. And this was in a closed room. And it flew in the front, down the steps of the stage. You know how a butterfly flies, jumping around. And then it went down the hallway where you exit the stage and go into the administration rooms in that building. And I saw this happen. I noticed it was quite interesting. And I looked, and it didn't seem like anybody else in the room noticed it. No one said anything. I didn't know everybody in the room, so I never had a conversation about it. But I noticed the monarch butterfly. And then about maybe 20 or 30 minutes later, the talk ended. And everyone got up in the front and they started to walk down. And someone was walking next to the elder, and the elder took his time, and he was the second last one. So the elder, and there's a younger man next to him to make sure he was okay. And the elder walked the same path that the butterfly flew. The elder walked into the wall, and the wall was where the butterfly flew. I remember precisely. The butterfly flew down, went down the hallway, and turned as if it was going to hit the wall, and then turned back and went down the hallway. So the elder came down the steps, walked down the hallway, turned to the wall and put his back to everybody, and went to walk into the wall. And the young man who was watching the elder, the other Tibetan monk, went to reach for him, and the elder turned back around and finished going down the hallway the right way. And I noticed that that was exactly the same flight path of the butterfly. So perhaps he was the butterfly, right? Perhaps he created himself as the consciousness and manifested a material form of the butterfly. That's the only time I've ever seen someone actually manifest something genuine out of the non-physical. I have seen other people claim to, and I have seen the fraudulent ways in which they've done it, like magic tricks, like sleight of hand. Someone puts something in your hand and from behind you, and then they show it and everyone sees that it's there, or something's in your sleeve. There's lots of ways that magicians and even spiritual magicians, especially in India, do these types of things, because the lesser evolved people on the spiritual path don't realize that those aren't important. Magic's not important. What's important is the eternal realization of peace, oneness, and love. So a lot of times lower consciousness human beings are hypnotized by these displays of magic, of people pulling things out of their sleeves, right? And they're so enamored by the magic that they don't see how that item was actually planted in their body. I've actually seen videos of it. Anybody can find it online, of different spiritual holy men who are actually given things in their hand, and you can see it happen on video. And then a few moments later, they pull out something like it was magic. And many people in the comments are saying, oh, it's real, it's so amazing. And I'm thinking, you didn't see that? 2 minutes earlier, someone approached this man, slid his hand underneath the other man's arm who was sitting in the chair. And then the man who slid the object stepped back and walked away. 2 minutes later, the man in the chair reaches up, and then he has a special object in his hand that he shows everybody. And the whole crowd thinks he made it appear out of nowhere. It was very basic magic, far less advanced than what the modern day magicians are doing, where they're making buildings disappear and all of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So there's a lot of deception, but I have seen something real that was impossible to fake. Perhaps it was a non-physical energy event that I saw because my non-physical senses are open. Perhaps it was a physical thing. I don't know. It looked physical to me. We were in a closed room with no windows. There was a talk going on for probably 40 minutes, in a closed room. There were no butterflies in the room. One appeared, flew down the hallway, walked the exact same line that the elder walked. It was a beautiful experience. So I know it's possible.
Maybe you were the only one who was supposed to see, and who was able to see it also.
I've had other experiences like that where different non-physical things happen, but they were clearly non-physical, like seeing light bodies and things like this. Whereas this was actually looked very physical, but it could have just been an astral object that this person manifested themselves as. So this was an elder Tibetan. He's probably about 80 years old, and he's probably meditated his whole life and practiced creating out of energy this way.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if someone wants to do it, you can. Like I said, I've never had an interest in it. I know it exists. I've perceived it, but it's never been interesting to me because that's not my lifetime.
Okay. We can we can make a video about all your experiences also, and all the things that you see. And I'm sure that the audience will be very interested in that also.